142 runs at nearly 5 and over in the first session of play on the second day in Rajkot. Virat Kohli sitting pretty after 24 test hundreds, 120 not out the Indian captain, and Rishabh Pant with a glorious little 92 for us to enjoy and be entertained with. It's been hard work for the West Indies bowlers, so we'll have that chat too as to where this game is heading and how much will be enough for India in this first innings. This is ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. Ajit Agarkar, Courtney Walsh. Again, it's a good time to not be bowling in Rajkot, but as expected, things going according to plan for India, Ajit.
Yeah, I mean, once West Indies didn't get any wickets at the start, it's a tough conditions. At the moment, it's looking more like a net session than anything else. You know, tired bowlers, pitch still very flat. There's nothing in it for them, and Indian batsmen really good in these conditions. I mean, Virat Kohli was not going to miss out on that opportunity to get another Test 100. Rishabh Pant, batted fluently, aggressively, missed out on 100. Jadeja's come and looks very comfortable at the crease, so tells you all about the conditions. So yeah, not great for the bowlers, but some much needed runs for the Indian batters.
It's harsh sometimes to criticize bowlers on pitches like this, but it is what it is, isn't it, Courtney? It seems very easy for India.
So I brought back memories of Nagpur when I played on that wicket at Nagpur, which I thought was the flattest wicket you could ever think of. There's nothing much in it for the bowlers. Vishu must be kicking himself for that chance he put on, but it's a flat wicket, good for batting. Everything is in their favour. And I mean, you expect that as the game goes on, they're going to score at a better run rate. And they're doing that just that now. Kohli, I mean, when he's in form and on song, you know what he can do. He hadn't played since the England series, so he started scratching. But you can see the class in him, and he's dominating things out there. But the thing about it as well is that he's not just batting and not looking for runs. He's looking for every scoring opportunity, and that could be trouble because India's looking to get a very big one.
Hard as it may be, Courtney, is there anything you would have liked to see a bit more from the West Indies early on? Try and make singles a bit harder. It is a stand-in captain. Is there anything that you would have wanted to see a bit more from the Windies?
Possibly the guys in the ring trying to cut the ones if they can. I mean, it's very easy to look and say, yeah, you want to see that done. But yeah, you might want to see the guys on the inside trying to stop the easy singles, to force their hands a little bit. But I mean, it's a flat wicket. There's not much happening. There's not much purchase of the wicket. It's really the batsman dictating what's happening so far. And I mean, the wicket might deteriorate a little bit as the game goes on, but it's very tough out there. Very tough.
Just 3 overs to Shannon Gabriel, who's the pick of the bowlers yesterday. You've bowled on this death knell of a pitch for fast bowlers. It takes something out of you, doesn't it, as a fast bowler?
Yeah, a lot. But I mean, you would have expected him to bowl a little bit more. I think. I mean, I don't know. Courtney might be able to answer it a bit better. Once they miss those two guys, Kemar Roach and
Jason
Holder.
Yeah.
The two replacements don't have a little bit of X factor about them. I know inexperience and it's tough in these conditions, so it's hard to judge them.
I thought Sherman Lewis in phases has looked alright.
Yeah, but I mean, on a flat wicket like that, you probably need something a little bit different. Instead of line and length for a period of time is okay. Courtney might know if there are any bowlers in the West Indies.
I saw one ball, Courtney, in that session where Rishabh Pant was just worried a little. It hit his handle. And just thinking, I know it takes so much out, especially on this wicket, but maybe a bit more of that and it may not have been as easy for India's batsmen.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more aggression, along those lines. You'd have liked to see a little bit more of that. They came out this morning as if they had a plan. Bowled a couple of short ones. Things didn't brought in a wicket, but it shows some aggression, it shows some good sign, but they probably didn't do enough of that, didn't try to test the batsman out enough, even on flat wickets, because, as I said, if you sort of change your line of attack or you try something different, the batsman has to think about it, and it just might give him that little element of a doubt. And on these pitches, you have to try to create some kind of doubt. You can't just go through the motions. So I think they could have probably shown a little bit more aggression. Yes, it's flat, but try the short ball a little bit more, set the field according to plan, and just try something. You have to try something.
Yeah, I mean, a leg slip, short leg, bang it in. But how much does it take out of you as a fast bowler to bowl even one short ball on that pitch?
Yeah, I mean,
whoever would like to go for it. Yeah.
No, it takes a little bit out of you, but you have to be prepared. And as a fast bowler, I mean, maybe what they could have done is bowl the quick men in shorter spells, shorter bursts, try to keep them a bit fresh, maybe 3 over spells, try to keep rotating them around a little bit. But you have to put something in. And as a fast bowler, you know you're going to have to bring it back at some point in time.
There was an element of predictability about that session.
Yeah,
like
that's the thing. I mean, anyway, you're going for what, over 4 runs and over.
Yes.
So you may as well get hit bowling or trying something a little bit different. I know much easier sitting here and saying it. I've bowled on that pitch, and it is not one that you wish you play a test match on first up when you come to India.
Should there have been
So you would not be
then?
traveling with it then? You would not be traveling with that wicket with you in your back pocket then?
I could avoid getting on that flight if I could.
All right. As far as India are concerned, the runs came through the bats of Virat Kohli and Rishabh Pant. And Kohli, in typical Kohli fashion, has almost nonchalantly found his way to another 100 in Test cricket. 24 is where it counts for Virat Kohli. Just looking at some of the numbers, the fewest innings to 24 centuries in Tests, and he's second only to the great Don Bradman. Tendulkar, Gavaskar and Matthew Hayden along with him for company, but 123 innings for Virat Kohli's 24 Test hundreds. Yes, the game's changed a bit and the eras have changed, but there is a prolific ability that he has of century getting.
Yeah, and just getting hundreds against attack. I mean, you can't compare the eras those guys played in.
Yes.
For better or for worse, whatever it is, but it's still the ability to get hundreds. And there are going to be easy hundreds like that on offer, but you still have to be good enough to make sure that you get them. And just without any fuss has got to 100. Scored at a decent rate as well. Didn't look like getting out at any stage apart from maybe that cotton bolt. Just keeps, hasn't had
hardly
cricket over the
breaks
last
his
couple of
sweat.
weeks. Started a bit slow yesterday, but again looks at his fluent best. I couldn't have hoped for a better pitch to bat on.
Always unfair to compare batsmen over eras, but I guess you compare batsmen with his contemporaries, Courtney, and Kohli seems to pop up in these sorts of stats more often than even batsmen of this era.
Yes, he certainly does. I mean, he's a class player, fantastic player, a top class batsman, and you can see, I mean, he's second to someone like Don Bradman when you look at the amount of centuries. So it just shows how consistent he has been. And I mean, as they say, form is temporary, but class is permanent, and he's showing that he's a very classy player. And you just have to give him all the marks for the way he has played. Plus, the other thing I admire about him is this running between the wicket. He's eager to get the runs. He's not taking anything for granted. And it's as if he says every test run counts, and that's a good sign.
Virat Kohli continues to set the records good. There'll be many numbers that will come your way when you watch Virat Kohli play in any format of international cricket. But we're just looking at some more milestones. It's the 4th Test done of 2018, and no one else has more than 2. We're also looking at Kohli as the 4th most centuries for India in Tests, who goes past Virender Sehwag's 2,300. It's also the joint fastest to reach 3,000 runs in Test cricket in India, along with Cheteshwar Pujara. What a wonderful time to be Indian captain and batting and playing.
I mean, when you bat or play for as long as he has been and how prolific he's been, there are always going to be some stat or some records that are going to be broken the more he plays. It's just his approach. There's never sort of a 99% approach. It's always 100%. Like Courtney said, doesn't miss a single. The intensity, that's why never drops.
7 boundaries, lots of running, typical of Virat Kohli almost.
Yeah.
Even on this hot sort of pitch.
I mean
hot day.
and he's pushed the team as well. Just fitness levels of the team has gone up. He's himself very, very fit and shows in his cricket. That's why he can get big runs consistently.
There's a difference between him and some of the other guys as well. Even in the Indian batting, there are guys who can pile lots of runs. There's Pujara, there's Rahane, there's Rahul. Somehow this guy, when he comes out, Courtney, until that Bishu chance, it was chanceless. You knew he just wants to get big runs. Again, big player, even if it's flat, makes it count.
He makes it count, and that's the difference with the big players. When they get a chance, they're not going to let up. He's gotten a chance in terms of the bat, and he wants a big one, and he's set the stars out from early. I mean, from the moment he won the toss, you could see on the face that he was very happy to win the stars, and he wants to be a part of it if he gets a chance to bat. He knows these conditions well, and he has maximized it.
There's a bit of a relief factor for winning tosses because he didn't win a single one in England. So if he had to win one, I don't know if he would have traded this for one
I
of the
don't know about
England
anyone
tosses.
else, but the bowlers will definitely be thanking him in that Indian dressing room for winning this one.
There's a little chat on in international cricket about doing away with the toss and having the opposing captain decide. If that was the case, would you go for it? Would you think that would make things easy? I can totally see that.
Brathwaite will definitely vote for it today, but look, I think that's a conversation for another day. I mean, there is some merits to it. These conditions make you wonder if that should be the case.
I'll have a quick word on Courtney before we talk about Pant. But that talk, if you have an opposing captain decide when he looks at the strip and says, I'm going to have a bat, does that make things any more interesting?
Maybe not. I mean, you still have to go there to the goods, but as an opposing captain, it might, they might want to do the wickets different if that's the case. I mean, that would come back down to pitch preparation now, because I'm sure if that was the case, then the homegrown staff would have to probably do something different about the wickets. I think that's why that argument has come in.
Yeah, the ICC cricket committees discussed it and decided we're not going to touch that for now.
I like the toss.
All right, you like the toss. Keep it as
I still like the toss.
All right. Rishabh Pant, wow, what an innings. Second 100 was there for the taking in back-to-back innings, but maybe we shouldn't obsess over the 100. We should obsess over the innings itself. 92 at a strike rate of over 100. This guy with each innings will continue to ask some serious questions.
Yeah, again, I can't believe he's not part of the Indian sort of shorter format setup yet. The way he bats, it's just naturally suited to those formats. But in Test cricket, I'm glad he's gone from strength to strength. Yeah, he probably regrets some stage in his career not getting to that 100, but that's the way he's batted throughout his innings. Hopefully, continues to do that. He can turn games in a session. Okay, the conditions were a lot easier here than what we saw in England. But he can turn games for India. His
sixes obviously are the first sorts of shots that come to mind, Courtney, because he plays the spinners well, deposits them into the stand. But he plays pacers with ease as well. There are a few boundaries, just flick off his pads, makes it with almost without any effort, effortlessly finds the boundary even of the faster bowlers.
Yeah, he's a good striker at the ball. What I would have liked to have seen them doing to him a bit earlier is probably test him out. He played a good couple of hook shots. He gives you a chance because he tries to hit sixes all the time, and all he needs to do is to miscue one. Unfortunately for the West Indies, a couple of miscue. The one that he miscue of Gabriel went for six, but I would have liked to see them test him out a bit there. But he's a fluent striker at the ball, and when he hits it, it stays hit. So I think it's a good fall for India to have him batting the way he's batting right now. No need for him to change his game. He will be disappointed not getting to 100 on such a flat track, but the rate at which he scored that have given India the luxury to get a very big score.
I like
and quite early in his career as well. What, 3 tests, now 4th test into his career. So still very young and experienced. Hopefully, he can keep getting better.
I like Indian batsmen who, when they're 90s, continue to play exactly the same way. Nothing changes. He doesn't mind getting out at 92. He got to his first 100, if I remember, with the boundary. He got his first runs with the boundary. Not bad.
Yeah, well, we'll find out as his career progresses if he stays the same way. But yeah, at the moment his approach. Look, he was a leg spinner. He fancies himself taking on the leg spinner. Wanted to get to his 100 quicker than maybe the singles would have got him. So yeah, we'll find out in due course when he continues.
Now, I was going to say that we would have loved to be able to get into the 90s, you and I, actually. But,
True.
I mean, it's good for him to be showing fearlessness, but at the same time, and you would still want him to try to get to that landmark of 100.
There's a conversation that not enough people in Indian cricket, in my opinion, Courtney, are having on whether Rishabh Pant should be at least considered just as a batsman in all formats. Just looking at his game now, I don't know how much of him you might have seen in the IPL or in this very limited white ball cricket otherwise. He looks the part for a white ball, left-handed middle order batsman for you?
He looks the part of the player all formats of the game, so he must be challenging someone sometime soon to get into the Indian team. But he looks the part that he could play the ODIs or the T20s. He's a very good player.
There is a bubble of indispensability about MS Dhoni for now, as it seems in the one-day setup. But they are playing Dinesh Karthik purely as a batsman. You have to compare like for like this place for Rishabh Pant, whether he comes at the expense of Dhoni or not.
No doubt about it. I think hopefully they do that sooner rather than later against the West Indies in the one-day series for sure. I mean, there are 5 one-days, so there's got to be an opportunity to play him somewhere, whether it's as a batsman or as a keeper. I mean, we know what MS Dhoni can do. There's no harm in resting him for a couple of games. And anyway, Dinesh Karthik is playing in that team. Yeah. I would definitely pick Rishabh Pant ahead of Dinesh Karthik for sure.
Given there are still question marks for that Indian middle order, even after the Asia Cup, after resting a number of players and whatnot, where does he fit in if he was to come into this one-day setup?
I mean, those things you can always debate. I think the top 3 is quite settled for India. I mean, maybe a couple of those guys rest. He might get a go in the top 3, but in the top 6 with his just purely on his batting ability. There's no doubt in my mind that he's got to be given an opportunity to see whether he's good enough, because at the moment, one, there's no left-hander there,
Yes.
and the way he strikes the ball is suited to any format.
Okay, let's focus our attention back to the game itself. 506, and how much longer does this carry on for the West Indies? Courtney, it's a hard place to be in Craig Brathwaite's shoes right now. I don't know how you resume things. Do you just inevitably wait for the declaration, or can you still make things happen?
No, you still have to go out there and play the cricket the hard way. That's Test cricket. I mean, it's only lunch now, so it's still a lot of cricket left to be played. India could try to get to 700 if they have a mindset to do so, which should be a very long time for the West Indies to be in the field. So as a captain, you have to be thinking that they've got to try to keep the runs down. You still have to try to see if you can pick a wicket 32. But the most important thing is for them to try to limit India to sort of in excess of 650. So they've still got a lot of cricket to be played. Obviously, India are in the driver's seat, but as a captain, you still have to try to keep the troops together, one, in the field of play, but also you have to keep them upbeat, because West Indies will have to bat on this wicket, and not because India's got the runs means West Indies are automatically going to get runs. So you still have to try to keep everybody level-headed.
It might seem like the job's more or less done at 500, and now whatever you get, you've still got a great first innings score. But Ravindra Jadeja, again, we're looking at little things to take away from this series going forward, fight for places. He's come in above R. Ashwin. Did that surprise you firstly?
Very surprised. I think that's a big statement though from the team management. Ashwin's batted ahead of him, got 4 Test hundreds.
Yes.
And obviously lost his place due to injury in that last Test in England. And Jadeja's batted well, so maybe he's sort of pegged Ashwin in that one spinner department when India travels overseas, because of his batting as well. So that's a big call from the team management. A little bit, not surprised, because he batted really well in that Test and seems to be in good form. So,
what would you like the approach to be after lunch, though? Just go for it?
I see the run rate's been quite healthy.
Yes.
So I don't think India is going to try and do anything different. If you're getting 4 runs and over, you'll keep going. They'll want the wicket to have a lot more wear and tear. It still looks a pretty flat wicket. They want the ball to start spinning a little bit more, so they'll keep batting as long as they can. Like Courtney said, I mean 700 if they get to, would be great. Anything over 600 is a lot of runs in any case. It's more the condition of the pitch which then will suit India if it starts spinning.
Last word quickly on Devendra Bishu, Courtney, as the most experienced or the lead spinner of this West Indies attack, going at 4 and over. It might have been hard to bowl on day one, but do you expect a little more control from your main spinner?
You can say that, yes, but I mean, he's a leg spinner. Leg spinners sometimes go for a little bit of runs. You'd have liked to see him with a little bit more control with the experience, but the thing is, he has not had a lot of bowling. I mean, in the last Test series over in the Caribbean, he didn't do a lot of bowling because the wicket was a bit green. It's more favoured the seamers. So this is probably the real first Test he has had where he's got a lot of bowling under his belt in a match condition. Regardless of how much bowling you do in the nets, I mean, in the middle is the best Test in the match. Unfortunately for him, he didn't have a lot of in the 4-day games before this tour. So he's probably just getting back into the feel of things. As you can see, as the game goes on, he's improving. Sad that it's happening in the Test, but yes, you want to be tighter, but I understand, and with the wrist in the control is not always going to be there from the get-go. So I sympathize with him, and I hope that he gets back into that rhythm very soon.
Are there bowlers that will be putting their hand up that I want to start proceedings after lunch at 500 odd plus? Or is that going to be the captain's job now?
Normally that would be me if Curtly's in the team. But no, I mean, we have 2 youngsters who are playing, and they should. This is a golden opportunity for them to get some bowling under the belt, get a feel of Test match cricket. One of the best batsmen in the world is batting. Test your wit against him. See how well you can contain him. See if you can get him out. It's that kind of challenge you want to see. Lewis put his hand up, Akeem Paul, to try to do something. They've got to be careful how they bowl Gabriel in terms of. I'm not sure if he's sort of tied up, but he gave it everything he had yesterday. So maybe he's feeling a little bit stiff right now. So as you know, you don't want to put him under too much pressure. But one of these youngsters should get a little bit of bowl and Test match time and be tested.
I like what he said, that early in your career, forget it, you lost the toss, not the greatest pitch, whatnot. Best batsman in the world batting, it's a challenge. Just go bowl. It should be enough incentive regardless of the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, it's wanting to actually do it, isn't it? It's that should be the attitude. I mean, you've been in the field for 4 sessions. but it's still a test match. And okay, the conditions aren't in your favor, but there are going to be other occasions in your career where the conditions won't be in your favor. You still have to put your hand up for your captain and your team.
Can you think back of a time in your career when it was similar, where opposition
Plenty.
got loads, opposition got loads of runs?
You forgot I played for India.
Yes, of course, and a lot in India.
No.
I don't know if it was ever
To
often
be
in
honest,
Kohli's
the
career.
spinners got the job done usually.
Right. Kohli, I don't think it was many times in your career.
No, but there's a couple of times in my career where the game is not going anywhere and it looks as if it's going to be a stalemate. But you need someone to put the hard work in. Malcolm Marshall has to be rested, Michael Holding or Gerald Gardner. So my hand went up, I've got to do it. Plus, there's times when this, as a bowler, you want to sort of learn or to be able to adapt to the conditions. And you're the youngest in the quarter. And the only way to learn is by bowling. So if you get a chance to bowl at a Virat Kohli, I would put my hand up and say, I'll give it a try. And you try to see if you can restrict him or get him out, because you're going to get better from that experience.
All right, brilliant. Thank you
you
very
need
much.
those kind of characters in your team.
Yeah.
Helps the captain.
Okay, let's see if this young West Indies fast bowler, one of these fast bowlers, can put their hand up. Thanks, Ajit. Thanks, Courtney Walsh. Get your thoughts at tea time to see how this game has progressed. Download the ESPN Cricinfo mobile app for ball-by-ball commentary on this India-West Indies test. Kohli and Jadeja to resume duties for India. We'll be back at tea time for ESPN Cricinfo Match Day.